When was the last time you felt your heartbeat? No idea, right? People struggle to answer that. Chances are your mental energy is way high or higher than your physical energy that you're exerting. Hey guys, this is Coach KP and I'm here with the fourth tip in the self-acceptance tip series. All right, so one of the things that I want folks that are watching this video to be clear about is anything that you have to think about, that's not second nature to you yet, right? So if we're sitting here thinking about accepting ourselves more, that just means that we're in the process of fully, radically accepting ourselves. So what does that mean is, as you progress in this path, you are going to come to a space where self-acceptance becomes second nature, in that you're not thinking about what you need to do to accept yourself at that moment. It just happens automatically. And the one secret to getting to that space is to embody your body fully, right? So embodying our bodies fully. Now, what does that mean? This can bring a big question to people that have not heard this before, right? So if you're hearing this concept of embodying yourself for the first time, and you may be thinking, well, I am in my body. What do you mean, Coach? What I mean by that is a lot of our generation, a lot of people that were born in the last 20 years, 30 years, haven't learned how to fully be in our bodies, because the sensory overload, the amount of data that we get on a daily basis, and increasingly so in this digital age, and the type of work that we do, what that is doing is it's robbing us from fully being present in our bodies. So you have a cell phone, what do you do all day? Typing on that keyboard. You're losing your ability to connect with your legs. And I'm speaking from an energetic standpoint. I am an energy healer, and I went to school for 3 years to understand how energy works in the body, right? So this is where I am drawing these conclusions from. And one of the things that is very surprising to me is when people approach me and talk to me about OCD or anxiety, and we start to do bioenergetics, for example, or we start to learn how to lift heavy weights. And when I tell people about these programs that are out there that are going to enable them to become stronger, become more present in their bodies and in their bioenergetic field, especially when it comes to these somatic experiences, that is going to connect us, or that connects us every second to the present moment. And when I talk about somatic experiences, what I'm saying is, let's say you have an object. I have this business card in my hand. When we experience this business card, there is no way we can experience this business card, the texture of this business card, the edges of this business card, that we are not in the present moment. Okay? So when you're driving, when you're experiencing that steering wheel fully present, feeling the texture of that steering wheel, we are connected to the present moment, right? And this is an exercise I talk about in my first book. If you guys want to check that out, check it out. My first book is on Amazon, Personal Development Simplified. And I talk about a lot of these things that you can do to connect with yourself and get out of that anxious mind. So the point I'm trying to make is, when you connect with something that is physically present in the present moment, and I'm not talking about the phone, because the phone, you're actually disassociating, you're actually abstracting yourself away from what is actually happening within the screen, and your thumbs are engaged in typing, but your brain is completely elsewhere, and your brain is doing a lot of the processes and a lot of processing of the phone, and a lot of these processes that are happening in the brain. Even when you're connecting with this other person, you're really connecting with them through your mind space, right? This is not a body-based somatic connection. So in order to be in that space where you are accepting the present moment, and in return you're being fully accepting of yourself, need to learn how to connect with your body. And heavy lifting, for example, is a great way to start. And why am I talking about heavy lifting? And heavy lifting for each individual, right? I'm not saying everybody should go out there and try to lift 300 pounds. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you should lift a certain weight. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, once you start to lift heavy weights, whatever is heavy for you relatively, then you really start to learn to engage all of the muscles that are present in our bodies, especially when we're doing compound workouts. And when I say compound workouts, I'm talking about deadlifts, I'm talking about squats, I'm talking about overhead press, I'm talking about bench press, right? All these compound lifts. And even isolation workout may work for what I'm talking about, but I have really benefited, and some of the clients that I have worked with, especially the ones with anxiety, have really benefited from doing these lifts that I just talked about. Would allow you to use most of these muscles in your body, and will teach you over the course of time how to engage with the present moment, right? So by lifting heavy weights, you're not only developing your muscular system, you're also training your mind to stay out of the picture, right? Because then your body, because mind is not the only intelligent source in our body, right? That's the thing that we are going to learn, and science is going to catch up in the next 100 years. In my experience, and in experience of the people that I have worked with, running hasn't worked because you're still in your mind space. There's still a lot of thinking that you're doing when you're running versus lifting heavy weights. And don't get me wrong, running will still get you out of the mind space more than, say, not doing anything, and it's a great exercise. I'm not arguing against that, but when running becomes second nature, there isn't a lot of, it becomes very linear. It's a linear exercise, and there isn't a lot of variations to running unless you're doing some special type of training where you're engaging sprinting, and perhaps running with weights where you have to be really mindful about your core. It's not as effective as lifting heavy weights, is all I'm saying, right? So once you lift heavy weights for 3 months, 6 months, and you've never done this before, you'll learn what I'm talking about. And on top of that, when we mix bioenergetics, right, and some of the bioenergetics exercises can be Tai Chi, right? Various versions of Tai Chi. It could be something as simple as just doing this all over your body, just feeling all of your body, right? Just being intentional about feeling what your body feels like, because so many of us have forgotten what our heartbeat should sound like, right? When I go into these workshops that either I run or have been run by people that I go to assist, and one of the questions that I really like to ask people is, when was the last time you felt your heartbeat? No idea, right? People struggle to answer that. So what I'm saying is really connecting with our bodies, doing bioenergetics, such as any of the Qigong exercises, martial arts, or even strict bioenergetic exercises. You can look them up on YouTube. This is not the right time for me to talk about it. Maybe I'll make a few videos with bioenergetic exercises that I've learned over the course of many years. and it'll help you. But what I'm saying in this video is self-acceptance cannot happen unless we learn fully to be present in our bodies. And to be fully present in our bodies, you have to use your body and be intentional about getting into the body by doing physical exercises, right? So physical workouts, heavy lifting is your friend in the journey. It is also your friend in case you have anxiety, in case you're suffering from OCD, in case you have thoughts that go out of control. Chances are your mental energy is way high or higher than your physical energy that you're exerting out in this planet. So that's all I have for you today. This is Coach KP with tip number 4. I'll be back with tip number 5